This is now home. We need to make ourselves feel belonging. We need to do something about it, right? And we can do that by starting to give back. Appreciate what Australia has given us. Give back, contribute to the community, do something for the community. And as I've said, in my experience, 40 years already in Australia, is the more I did something for the community, the more I felt belonging. The more I felt like I'm not second-class citizen. I am first-class citizen. I am Australian.
Welcome to my podcast, My Migrant Soul. This is Imran Abul Kashem, serial entrepreneur, former journalist, and personal branding expert. I am a migrant. I believe every migrant has a great stories. The stories of coming in a new country, struggle, some success, and leave legacy for the next generation. So this is the common story of a migrant in a new country. My Migrant Soul, I interview some successful migrant who have a great story to share to their next generation. They can inspire others. So in this episode, I am going to interview one of the person that I was very inspired by him. When I came to in Wyndham in 2015, one person come to my mind always. He had a great success. He inspired me as well to work for the migrant, and also coming in a new country, having elected and worked for the community. All this inspired me. So rather than any introduction, I would like to introduce my guest, Walter Villagonzalo. Walter, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Imran, and good afternoon to everyone.
So I was very inspired by you when I came to Wyndham. I saw you running election. You was the citizenship of the year. And then slowly I come across to know you, know about the Migrant Hub and every community work you do. Mm-hmm. And we sometimes come across as well. But can you tell me your personal story, where it started and how you come to a new country, mm-hmm. and what is your personal journey that you inspire by?
So my name is Walter Villagonzalo. I came from the Philippines and moved to Australia in 1986 with my family. 1986, there was a revolution sort of in the Philippines. There was a change of government. At that time, I was in the military. So I was a Naval officer, but I was working in computers and information systems. And I was not really involved in either of the two sides, but there were some, my position was taken over by three senior officers, much more senior than myself, and I had to go back to the Navy, and the future was not really looking that good, and there was chaos in the country at that time. So I said to my wife, let's go to Australia. We already had a visa. We applied for independent migrant, skilled migrant, 2 years before. So we had our visa, and then my mother and two brothers and a sister were in South Australia. So we came here to just take a break. And then we moved there. But 2 months, I applied for a job in several places, but I got a job in Melbourne. I was offered a job in Melbourne. So they paid for the company, an insurance company paid for my transfer, and it was a very good offer. They paid for the transfer, so my whole family, my brothers, my mother, also moved to Melbourne with me. So my first position was senior systems analyst in Melbourne. So then that was 40 years ago already. And then we stayed in Brunswick, then Munipans, and then we were looking for a school for our children. We saw one in Harper's Crossing. We talked to the principal, and across the street after the interview, we saw a sign that the house was for sale. 1 hour later, we were signing the document to buy the house.
What was your challenges when you come to a new country like Australia? When you come, what challenges did you face?
So it's always about feeling belonging, right? Because For all of us migrants, we're used to our country, and then we come to a new country. We feel like we're second-class citizen, or we don't feel belonging. We don't feel like we're able to do what we want to do, or as much as we can do, and whatever we had accomplished from our home country, it's not recognized. You have to start from the bottom, right? And it's not just me. It's almost all migrants. Okay? So I was active in the community. I was president of the Filipino Club of Werribee here, and I was involved in the Australian or the migrant community, the business community. So I was very active there, but I still did not feel belonging. 12 years after we moved here, I brought my family back to the Philippines. And I said to my kids, they were some were already teenagers, and they said, "We're not going back to Australia. We're staying here for good. This is where I belong." I mean, the Philippines is where I belong. I did not feel belonging. That's what I told my kids. And then they cried and said, "But Dad, we are Australians." We had to struggle and discuss it with my wife. We had to pray about it. And then we decided we'll go back to Australia for the sake of the children. So that's what happened to me. And when I came back, I had to, again, struggle with that issue of not feeling belonging. So what I did was I got more involved in community. I was already involved in community, but I was doing more, practically full-time. I was involved in almost, maybe 50 roles in the community. Anything that I can find that they're looking for somebody that would represent the migrant community, I volunteered. From e-conveyancing to consumer groups to any committee that I can find, especially in Wyndham. I just volunteered. So, but the more I got involved in community, the more I felt belonging, the more I felt accepted, and the more I felt accomplished.
So there's one other thing, like coming a new country, where you come from, Philippines, I come from Bangladesh. So what happened is, like, we sometimes find out Bangladeshi and stuck with, like, lots of community people. They're stuck, like a migrant community. They're stuck with their own community. They don't come into the the mainstream community.
Yes.
So
right.
I what I found is you work both sides. You
Yes.
work in the Filipino community and also working in the mainstream as well.
Yes. So I was president of the Filipino Community Club of Werribee. And then I got involved in the migrant community. I was consultant to the Migrant Resource Center in Footscray and also in Altona. And the more I got involved there, the more I felt like it's something where I belong, right? So I closed down our Filipino Community Club of Werribee, and then I formed the Migrant Hub. So the Migrant Hub is more multicultural. So I also formed the Filipino-Australian Business Association. But after a year, I closed it down, and we started the Australian Council for Multicultural Entrepreneurs, because I saw that the future is multicultural. It is important that we, among our own community, we need to be able to work together, right? But it is more important for us to work with other communities. But for somebody to be able to work with other communities, they need to feel belonging, and they need to be more active in their own community first. But the objective is to be part of the wider community. Okay, the migrant community, and then the wider Australian community. We need to transition into that.
So when you're working with the Filipino community or overall migrant community, what are the challenges you face and personally, and how you overcome that challenges?
Migrant community, well, we have a lot of issues in the community, right? So if you're working alone, you see that you have needs. But if you're working together with other migrants, you see that you share the same problems, the same issues. And the more of you working together, the easier it is to relate to government, to talk to the council, to talk to the Victorian Multicultural Commission, because now you're not only representing yourself, but you're representing a bigger community. So funding, for example, for community groups, that's our issue. We had the Migrant Hub, and we we could not get funding from council. So I made a presentation to the Wyndham City Council before in the budget hearing, budget discussion, and I said, we need funds in order to have social community worker and an office. And they said, no, right? So, but you have to be innovative. You have to come up with some ideas and see how you can solve the problem yourself. So what we did was together with our community leaders from Malaysia, from Tonga, because I was president or chair of the Werribee Ethnic Communities Council.
Okay.
So we were together, and so what we did was we set up the Migrant Hub. We set up a cafe, and the cafe became our office. And the people were coming to our cafe, and we were having festivals and events. And, at that time, there were 3 newspapers in Werribee, and we were in the local papers 20 times in 1 year because of what we were doing in the community. So we were making an impact in the community, and that gives us more satisfaction.
Tell me the reason why you ran for the council in 2016, is it?
2016.
Yeah.
Well, that was when I was elected. But I ran for council 5 times. So I was elected on the 5th time. Because I was involved in the multicultural community, you see issues and we say, okay, we need to talk to council about this. My advocacy was more about bringing more services to the migrant community, which at that time was only about 20-30% in Wyndham. In Werribee, it was called City of Werribee then. And also the small business. Because council was talking more about big businesses like Coles and Woolworth who bring them here. What about the small business? So those were my 2 major advocacies, small business and the migrant community. But you can be an activist and make a loud noise somewhere, but it's not going to make any difference. You have to be in council and make the change yourself. So instead of being an activist, we wanted to get in and become a reformist. So I ran for council 5 times. And then by 2015, I became Citizen of the Year. About that time, people already knew me. And so I was elected in 2016 and then 2020. And after 1 term, I ran again and was not elected. I also ran twice for state parliament. And at this stage, I'm more about helping the younger generation, the next generation to do that. So I'm more into mentoring the younger ones.
I will come to that point as well. But working when you are activist for the people and when are in the council, you was a deputy mayor as well.
Yes.
How was your experience working in the council from the migrant background or as an activist?
Yes. So see, at that time, there were less than 30% of the population being from migrant community. But one of the issues that I raised was that the grants, community grants, for example, there was practically nothing for the migrant community. So I was advocating for that. And there were a lot of other issues of the migrants that we were able to get across or communicate to council. As I've said, working together with other community groups, it was easier to advocate these things. And so I was a councillor, and of course, at that time, there were only 2 of us migrants who were in council, 11 councillors and two from migrant backgrounds. It's not easy. Especially because English is our second language, right? So debating in council was not something that I was used to. And even if you do that, then you think in your own native language before you translate it to English. So it's a major issue. But you get used to it. But if you don't do it, you're not going to get used to it. You're not going to get in. You have to step up and get out of your comfort zone and do something.
I'm 100% or 200% agree with you. You go out of your comfort zone and also do something positive. Yes. Do something, have your voice. And I think that that spirit also I am inspired by a lot. But if you share your life journey, that the lesson you learn working with coming a new country, working with the community, working with the local government, or working with the different migrant community, what lesson you learn?
We migrants, we feel like we're second-class citizen. Actually, the mainstream Australia itself, don't treat us as such. Everybody is equal. It is us who feel like we are treated like that. But it is what it is. It's the situation. You come to a new country, that's how you're going to feel, right? So that's why, as I've said, the more I got involved in community, the more I felt belonging. For those new migrants arriving, you don't try to compare yourself with the mainstream. I just came from the Philippines and I spoke to a diaspora in the diaspora summit there of about 400 Filipinos from different countries. And I was talking about the Filipino in the middle. So the Filipino in the middle they're not outstanding, but they're not also problematic.
Yeah.
We're just there. We're just there in the middle. You're quiet. You're in the comfort zone. You don't do much, right? But we need to step up. So but that middle is not really a small space. It's a large space because all migrants are in that space.
Yeah.
So let's get comfortable in that space and then we work from there. We can lead from the middle. Instead of making it a problem, we create an opportunity ourselves.
So what will be your advice for the migrant who are listening to your podcast or listening to this? What will be your advice for them?
Feeling belonging is something that we ourselves have to address. Australia wants us to belong, but we need to feel belonging ourselves. But we need to take a look at, instead of trying to see how Australia can do what Australia can do for us, let's do something for Australia. Do something for your community. Do something for the wider migrant community and then the wider mainstream Australian community. And the more you do it, the more you feel belonging, the more you feel accomplished, the more you feel recognized. Okay, that's my.
So what I feel like as a first migrant in here, we are floating. Like we are not the country are we from,
Yep.
or we are not belonging that you talking about. We are floating in the middle. In this situation, what is defining home to you?
I did not feel belonging, so home was the Philippines. And I'm sure it's the same as you. But we made a conscious decision to come here. Nobody forced us to come here, to Australia. This is now home. We need to make ourselves feel belonging. Ourselves. We need to do something about it, right? And we can do that by starting to give back. Appreciate what Australia has given us. Give back. Contribute to the community. Do something for the community. And as I've said, in my experience, 40 years already in Australia, is the more I did something for the community, the more I felt belonging. The more I felt like I'm not second-class citizen. I am first-class citizen. I am Australian.
So now I want to talk about what you are currently doing and what legacy you want to leave. What is your future plan?
There's a lot of migrants like me who, I was saying to Jake that, his mom, myself, we don't retire. We work in the community. And that's what's going to happen to me. I'm going to be in the community, working in the community. I'm already 73 years old. I'm not sure how long, how many years more I'm going to live, but I'm going to be doing something for the community, still continuing to do something for the community. Right now, I'm leading that group there, the cooperative. We established a cooperative and we're establishing community-owned three nurseries around Australia, but we're starting with Point Cook. So we know we need more trees in Wyndham and the western suburbs. All councils want to plant more trees. All companies are required to submit their net zero solutions, how they're going to become net zero by 2030, by 2040, 50, whatever. So they need to come up with a pathway to do that. And one of the best and cheapest way to do it is to pay for trees to be planted. So everybody wants trees to be planted. Where are they going to get the seedlings? So we looked at that as an opportunity for us. So we started the tree nursery. We want to grow seedlings that will be used to plant in our local area where they are needed most, because Wyndham has the lowest percentage of tree canopy cover in the whole of the greater Melbourne area, right? So, but there are other opportunities as well. There are other opportunities. I'm working with the Lions Club now. I was in the Rotary Club, but now I'm working with the Lions Club because we're working with Lions to help them achieve their objective of planting 1 million trees Australia-wide by, well, they said 2027, but let's make it 2030. Make it more achievable. We want to be able to do that. But at the same time, we're able to supply it. We could be supplier of the seedlings. So what we're doing is we want to achieve our objective by helping others achieve theirs. Right? So it's not always about ourselves. How can we achieve our objective by helping somebody else achieve theirs?
And it's not like for today. It's for the future generation, for the environment, for the sustainability. I think it has a great impact. I am a big believer of the sustainability. And thank you so much, Walter, to inspire me and for inspire my audience who are listening to. And next episode, we're going to bring someone who also inspire the others, who have a great story, migrant story, coming to a new country and inspire others like Walter. And thank you so much for listening to our podcast, My Migrant Soul. This is Imran Abul Kashem, your favorite host. And if you like this podcast, feel free to subscribe our channel in YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast. You will find my Migrant Soul channel. If you struggle to find, search in AI or Google. You will find My Migrant Soul. Thank you for listening. We will come again with another inspirational story.